ESPN's coverage of the NASCAR Nationwide Series comes to you today from the place they call Thunder Valley, Bristol Motor Speedway, the little half-mile track with turns banked as high as a giant super speedway. 43 drivers getting set to go 300 laps on this beautiful racetrack. Weather, well, we had some showers earlier. We're a couple hours late getting started. We are hoping the rain holds off. Right now the forecast is for cloudy conditions, temperatures in the mid-50s. When we talk about going upstairs to the booth, at Bristol, we really mean upstairs, like 18 stories above the racetrack. Our Dr. Jerry Punch, Andy Petrie, and Dale Jarrett. Gentlemen.
Thanks, AB. Great job down there with all the rain fill. This really was Thunder Valley for the last couple hours. I'm glad to have you folks with us. And guys, you know, for years, this place, Bristol, has been a fan favorite and arguably one of the toughest tickets in all of NASCAR. What makes this place so special?
It's really just fundamental, Doc. It is the banking. That banking is speed. It's just you put those banks up there. You've got a short racetrack, which is exciting in itself, but you put the banking in there, and you got all this speed, and you got everybody on top of each other, and that's what makes this place special.
Yeah, the drivers love it. It's short track racing at its best with thousands and thousands of fans. That's what gets the drivers excited about this place.
And drivers say in order to win here, guys, you have to survive 300 laps of what they call full contact stock car racing. How do you survive here?
Well, I think you have to be on defense, Doc. You got to make sure that you don't do anything that gets yourself in a bad spot. Either hit somebody from behind or get hit from behind. You've got to be on defense until the last, let's say 50 laps, and then you can go on offense and try to do something.
Yeah, good handling race car takes a lot of that away, but as a driver, you just have to go hard all the time. I think, you know, you can be a little bit conservative at times, but you really have to work hard at this racetrack the entire time.
And if you do survive here, you can be one of the first-time winners. Take a look, and if you win here for the first time, it bodes pretty well for your career. Dale Earnhardt, Rusty Wallace, Kurt Busch, and in the Nationwide Series, Bobby Labonte and Martin Truex, both in today's starting field. And both those drivers got their first series win here in the same year in which they went on to become a champion in NASCAR's Nationwide Series. Well, could we see a breakthrough winner here today? We're about to find out as they're lined up, buckled up. And now we go trackside for the command.
Now race fans, for the most famous words in auto racing, here's Steve Isett of the Phillips Group.
Drivers, start your engines.
Crank them up, gang. Fired up? Fired up. Fired up. And it's a bit hard to get on pit line here as well, so pretty fine to try to get into the pit line.
Are you going to take care of one another on pit road? Take care of all stops all day long. Driver, take care of that thing. Good luck, be careful.
Engines have finally fired here at Bristol Motor Speedway. Lining up here for the third time in 5 races this year. They have had to line up by virtue of owner's points from the 2007 season, which means Richard Childress' car, Scott Wimmer, this week will lead him down. Denny Hamlin starts on the outside of row 1, only his second start this year. There's last year's champion Carl Edwards, Clint Boyer, David Rudiman. Awfully strong field here at Bristol Motor Speedway. Now, what do you watch to see where your favorite driver will start? Let's visit with our in-race reporter today, making his second start of the year, driver of the Z-Line Designs Toyota, Denny Hamlin.
Denny, Dale Jarrett, you have a copy?
2-4.
Hey, Denny, we hear most drivers talk about loving to race here. What gets you most excited about racing here at Bristol?
Well, you know, it's definitely it's changed since the last time. You know, I've run here in a Busch car, but or Nationwide car, but the grooves here, it's exciting to be able to know that you can go on such a small track and have 3-4 grooves like we have here now.
Has the new surface changed the way that you race and attack this track?
I think so. You know, you definitely can be a little bit more patient with the traffic, the line traffic, than what you could before. Before you had to just give maybe a lap or so, then kind of root them out of the way. Now you can be a little bit more patient, choose a different line to get around them, and you know, hopefully that doesn't hold you up so bad to let the guy behind you catch you.
All right, Denny, thanks a lot. We'll talk to you later on, and good luck.
Thank you.
Denny Hamlin, a 3-time winner last year, 5 poles a year ago. By the way, Dave Rogers is the crew chief on that car, and a lot of the crew chiefs now hustling back to get on their respective pit boxes. We'll be talking with Dave a little bit later on. The 89 car, by the way, being pushed, will be pushed out of position because Morgan Shepherd's car, the former 4-time winner here, having trouble getting that car fired. Now we'll have 8 high-definition onboard cameras for you to watch today. Johnny Sauter starts 23rd in Miccosukee Golf Championships Chevrolet. The number 5 car, Martin Truex Jr., the 2-time series champion, starts 9th in the National Guard Chevy, carrying our GoDaddy.com onboard camera. Mike Wallace starts 17th in the Geico Toyota. By the way, Mike celebrated his 49th birthday last week. Casey Kane starts 7th in the Ragu Dodge. Greg Biffle, former series champion, starts 12th in the City Financial Ford. Denny Hamlin, you just heard from a moment ago, he'll start in 2nd spot on the outside of row 1. Jason Leffler starts 8th in the Great Clips Toyota, carrying our Fresh from Florida on board. And a pole sitter here a year ago, and maybe one of the young drivers to watch, Stephen Wallace, starts 27th in the Jimmy John's Gourmet Sandwiches Chevrolet. Cars are fired and they'll be rolling off momentarily, so we'll update some of the final stories from pit road, including the challenges that this track really presents to teams and drivers. First, here's Vince Welch.
Well, Doc, clean pit stops are always key in a race, but because of the noise that teams will face and deal with here at Bristol Motor Speedway, just simply communicating on pit lane becomes a challenge. Crew chiefs will use a different radio frequency dedicated only to communication amongst the team, or some will even use a different radio system altogether, or simply write out their changes on a grease board for the other team members to see. And Shannon Spake, when you're turning laps at less than 16 seconds, any miscommunication at all in the pits can be costly on the track.
Well, that's right, Vince. Of course, communication is very important here at Bristol Motor Speedway. But because it's such a physically demanding track, the teams want to get as much comfort in that car for their drivers as they possibly can. And one of the areas they really focus on is the head and the neck. Because the banking is so steep here, drivers often add additional inserts into their headrests. This is an insert that Bobby Labonte, former Bristol winner, would run at a track like Atlanta. Here at Bristol, it's a lot thicker. Now that just helps stabilize the neck, keep it upright, and keep it from going back and forth when they're coming off of the turns onto the straightaways. Because we all know, Mike Massaro, that racing here at Bristol Motor Speedway can sometimes be a pain in the neck.
That's right, Shannon, but what they gain in comfort from the headrest, they lose in visibility because it kind of cuts off their peripheral vision, and that could be a huge problem with this close quarters racing. And now with the new shape, they're running sometimes 3 wide. Not being able to see on either side of you can certainly be problematic. To counter that, these drivers are using this spot mirror, which is installed on the inside of the car, but it's very small. And the problem with that, I've been told, they don't have a lot of time to look at this mirror, just a quick glimpse because they're in the corners so long. The other challenge, the vibration. You don't get a quick image and a very clear image with this small little mirror when you're running around this Bristol Motor Speedway. And finally, one driver told me, because you're in the turn so long, you do get a sense of losing where you are on the racetrack. Because of that, they rely heavily on their spotters to tell them exactly where they are. Dave?
Mike, a final challenge for these teams is, do I think of this as the same old Bristol or the brand new Bristol? You know, same old Bristol was only one line around this racetrack. Stay down to the bottom, bump people out of the way to make your passes and things like that. The new Bristol, progressive banking, what they changed last year, made it so you could have 2 or 3 lines of racing around this very short racetrack. What will we see now that everything's been washed off, all the rubber has been washed clean from this racetrack? Well, Greg Biffle told me moments ago that some drivers will still take the opportunity to find that high line to make it work for them. But he says because the rubber's washed away, it'll take a little bit longer, but don't count the high line out. Doc?
Thank you very much, Dave. Okay, guys, our drivers, Rusty Wallace, Dale Jarrett, we're just seconds away from the green flag, so take us inside these guys' helmets. What are they thinking right now? Rusty.
Guys, right now, what I'm thinking is get my car to the bottom lane of the racetrack because it's a green racetrack. I don't know how the car is going to handle. And another thing, how is this car going to handle? Is it going to be loose? I've got a lot of concerns right now, but my number one goal, get to the bottom, get this race going.
Yeah, Rusty, I agree. I think those guys that are on the inside lane are feeling a lot better about the start of this race right now. But if you're in that outside groove, you've got to keep the pace, knowing now that NASCAR has just said we're going to have a competition yellow on lap 45. So I want to get in there, get settled in, be able to see what the track is going to do and what my car is going to do so I can make some adjustments on it at that time.
Andy, NASCAR allowing this competition yellow, saying you cannot take fuel now until lap 45. What are they trying to accomplish?
Well, what they're doing there, Doc, they're not going to let anybody get an advantage by, if we have say we have a caution in 2 or 3, 4, 5 laps, it doesn't let these guys get an advantage on the fuel. They have to wait until that competition yellow, when everybody comes in, then they can put fuel on, and everybody will be on an even playing field.
Getting the signal from the flagman as they come by that we will have green next time by. Glad to have you with us here, Bristol Motor Speedway. It is a 3-story high concrete coliseum, one of the all-time fan favorites and one of the toughest tickets over the years on Saturday and Sunday. Today, over 100,000. Tomorrow, it is sold out, 160,000 plus for the NASCAR Sprint Cup event. And by the way, our buddy DJ saying goodbye here in his final race. Getting set for what should be a good one. Front row, Scott Wimmer driving for Richard Childress alongside him in the 20 car. Denny Hamlin, a 3-time winner last year, driving for Joe Gibbs Racing. It is the world's fastest half mile, 300 laps of full contact stock car racing. Glad to have you with us as they come out of turn 4, and we're about to have the green flag wave in Bristol, Tennessee.
Denny Hamlin gets a good run off the top side of the racetrack on that first lap. I'm really surprised that the track's that good right now.
Andy, I was speechless right there. I was watching him do that, and that's just incredible. I would have never thought you could get that kind of run. It just shows the confidence he's got in that car.
And a big bobble a moment ago by Carl Edwards. He gathers it back in and loses a couple of spots. There's the 60 car of Edwards, who nearly got sideways coming out of 4.
Got another car up against the wall, Kenny Wallace.
Casey Kane in the 9 car trying to look inside of Edwards at his 4 position.
Oh, got a spin off turn 4. Bobby Labonte in the 21.
He's got some damage too.
Great effort by the 0-5. Brett Rowe to miss Bobby, and he is hit hard with the back of that 21 car owned by Childress.
Well, these guys are really confident coming in here too. It's a shame they got in the wreck this early.
Under caution here in the early laps. We just have 5 laps in. And the action is typical Bristol. Bobby Labonte around backwards, coming out of turn 4 and tags the outside wall. Yellow on the racetrack.
We'll be back after these messages and a word from our ABC stations.
Back at Bristol Motor Speedway, under yellow here in the early laps, lap 5, and the first yellow flag involving a spin by the 21 car. Let's show you what Johnny Sauter saw from his onboard camera.
See, Bobby Labonte was just a little bit high there as he cut the car down. You could see his car was just on the free side, and the 1 car got into him after Bobby came off the wall. So green racetrack, a car set up pretty loose.
That seems to be the trouble spot on the racetrack too. It has been the whole weekend. It's that one little place off turn 4.
Seems like we find that every weekend, that there's one spot that's really creating some problems for these guys as we go back to green.
Denny Hamlin will lead them back down. By the way, Bobby Labonte on and off pit road twice in that 21 car. Being shown 1 lap down now. We'll try to hang there, but that pretty heavily damaged car will be a sitting duck for the leaders as they bear in on him out of turn 4.
Look at Greg Biffle. He's working the high side on these guys. He got going on that restart up on the outside. I guess, Dale, he's just probably trying to work the outside. He's not really looking for a hole on the bottom.
No, which is good. And I'm sure these guys behind him are glad to see that somebody is doing that. But right now, it's not working that well for him. As you see, Jason Leffler was able to hold that spot.
He made a couple spots right there, but when he got to Jason Leffler, it didn't look like it was going to work too good on him. Whoa, got the 22 car up high.
Mike Bliss got a shape, and 59 Ambrose going by. There's Franchitti in the 40 car.
It's like he might have some damage on the left front, like he got into something.
Denny Hamlin there. You got a little help from Denny.
That's Kyle Busch in a 32 car.
I'm sorry.
It's hard. They swap cars each and every. That is Kyle Busch in a 32.
Blame on Denny's out there leading the race. I'm blaming that on him.
All right. He'll forgive you, I'm sure.
These guys got to quit swapping cars. Whoa, got the one Martin Truex around.
Okay, hold your brakes down there. Okay.
And Kyle Busch also involved further up the racetrack. Well, heavy damage on the 32 car. You can see how hard you hit at this racetrack, even though it is a very short track.
Well, we're at Bristol.
Can't say that these weren't type of things that we weren't expecting to happen, because it is such a small racetrack and you're going so fast that probably more times than not, you're going to get caught up in someone else's problems.
Looks like the 6 car maybe got into the back of Martin Truex. Ooh,
Kyle Busch was trying to drive by there as fast as he could. He hasn't had much luck the last couple of weeks.
Big spin by Truex, and it catches Kyle Busch, 2 of the favorites involved in caution number 2. We welcome you back to the Sharpie Mini 300 here at Bristol Motor Speedway. Under caution for the second time today, the 91 car is our Aaron's Lucky Dog Free Pass Award winner. That's Larry Gunzelman. There's Larry, and he was the first car a lap down, and now he will get back on the lead lap. Kyle Busch involved in that incident a moment ago. He had a really good race car, climbed out of the car and headed out of the building, down the ramp and outside.
He's pretty sure they're not going to be able to get that car fixed, at least not quickly.
No, and they're not going to fix it to where he wants to drive it. So he was almost by there. And, you know, there's nothing you can do in that situation. You know, you make that move to go to the high side and hope that the guy's able to hold it down. But these things have so much momentum, and that is still slick down there because it's still wet. So this wasn't any way that Martin could hold it down.
And this was really one of those chain reaction Bristol-type crashes, because we saw Carl Edwards struggle just a little bit up off the corner. And then you see Martin Truex. He gets tagged by David Reagan in that 6 car, and then all this happens.
Second week in a row, Kyle Busch has had some poor luck. He broke the shock mount after dominating at Atlanta last week. And then, of course, the NASCAR Sprint Cup points leader only made it through 13 laps today. He climbed out of the car and headed out. But Dave is caught up with Martin Truex Jr.
Yep, guys, standing by right now. Martin has climbed from the car. Pretty heavily damaged. Any chance you're going to get back out there?
No.
How did this start? It looked like maybe the 60 was a little slow coming off the corner, or were you all bottled up there?
Yeah, the 60 was real loose. I was trying to be nice. You know, it was like 10 laps in, so.
You going to quit being nice?
I know who I can quit being nice to, but it ain't the 60. You know, he didn't do nothing wrong. He was loose. The track was real slick, you know, green, loose. I was loose too, but not as bad as the 60. And I just got checked up. About got into the 60 and I had to check up. And, you know, after that, I'm not really sure what happened. All I know is I was spinning the hell out of the tires up off the corner, and I got behind on the steering. I shouldn't have wrecked. I did get run into, I believe, but I shouldn't have wrecked it.
How difficult are the conditions right now with the green track for everybody, Martin?
Typical concrete when it's green. It's just real slippery. You know, you're just up on top of the racetrack. And I felt real good about the car. It's a shame these guys, you know, I wanted to do a good job for them. Feel pretty dumb running 10 laps and wrecking.
All right, thanks, Martin. He's out, guys, but done for the day.
Contact Truex and Kyle Busch. We told you it has been a frustrating couple of weeks for Kyle Busch, and there's the 32 car he was driving today. Looked like he was driving away from him in Atlanta a week ago, and indeed he was, but then the troubles came on. Whoa! The 18 car up in the wall.
I'm not a very big fan of the tires we have here anyway.
Trouble on the racetrack.
Blow a tire? Yep, no warning whatsoever again. Wasn't as gentle as last week.
Kyle Busch, a tire at Las Vegas, and then the shock mount at Atlanta. So those 2 weeks, then you add this one into it. A lot of frustration there. But how about he dominated Atlanta, led the most laps, had led at Daytona, but then obviously a lot of frustration. DJ, it's almost like when this starts happening, you're snake bit.
Yeah, sometimes the harder you try to stay out of trouble or just have a good day, the worse things get. And no fault of his own right here. He's just doing his job, driving. But when you come to Bristol, you're hoping that the weeks before Bristol were good because you know that possibility is there for things to happen here, and they happen in a hurry, just like we saw there.
Andy, you talked about playing defense. You got to survive here. I mean, obviously he did nothing wrong, but he didn't survive.
Well, there's nothing you can do about that. You just try to put yourself in the best position you can, and he did that. He just had to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. Typical Bristol. The more things change here at Bristol, the more they stay the same, because this is exactly the way it's always been here.
Yeah, this is the type of racing that it's been ever since I've been coming here, and when I was watching racing and then got involved in it, it's just going to happen. You're going to have that, and these cars are struggling to get grip right now, and that's the most difficult thing, and it's going to create situations like that as we get ready to go back to green.
Pace car will pull away. There is Bobby Labonte's damaged car. They are going to black flag that to bring him back in to have some of that sheet metal addressed, as Denny Hamlin will lead him down.
But Denny's car seems like it's really hooked up good. I don't know if they have a different air pressure or something, but he really seems to get going on the restarts.
You know, this racetrack's going to change some as they run, so you almost, if I'm the crew chief on that car and he's driving away from him, I almost get a little bit nervous, because if the track changes, it's probably going to make my car worse, because it's pretty good right now.
I'm sure he's relayed to them exactly what his car is doing, and they're preparing that for that competition yellow that we're going to get on lap 45. And the racetrack's going to change. He's going to talk to him again before we get to that point.
Heard Martin Truex talk about he was trying to give the 60 car a break because he's a little out of shape. It is give and take, but how much can you give before you take one from behind?
Yeah, so many times that's exactly what happens. You know, you're trying not to run over that guy. You're giving him a little bit of a break, and the next thing you know, somebody's run into the back of you and has sent you spinning and knocked you out of the race. Mike, you've got more on the 20?
Yeah, DJ, and as if there was not enough incentive already for Denny Hamlin to get to victory lane after watching other drivers drive what is perceived to be his car, racing with a little concern in the Joe Gibbs Racing camp this week. Team manager Steve D'Souza, his high school age daughter was in a bad motorcycle crash this weekend, is currently being hospitalized. The entire Joe Gibbs Racing team rallying behind Steve D'Souza and trying to get a victory for him today. Dave?
2 cars behind, and now 3 cars behind is the 29 car of Scott Wimmer. Scott's main concern today, not handling, but speed in that race car. And the very fast Kevin Harvick just passed him for 3rd. Right now, the 29 car of Wimmer just a little bit loose, but again, worried about how fast his car will be long-term all day long.
See Brad Coleman struggling really big in that 27 car. Looks like he's got some damage. Left front fender's gone.
Got a number of guys struggling. It's making these guys, you know, they're not running straight at any point on this racetrack. They're having to weave in and out of traffic. Some of the guys are standing on the bottom, and some are running around the top. And it's making these guys really work hard to get everything they can and to keep their cars under them right now.
Talk about guys struggling. There's the 60 car of Carl Edwards, current series champion. We saw him bobble and get completely sideways on the opening lap of the race, and his car still has not come back to where probably he would like it to be running.
I'll tell you what, I'll bet you he's got it right by the end of the race. He's one of these concrete guys, man. You can count on him being there.
Shannon?
Well, Doc, that's exactly what's happening right now. Carl Edwards really has been struggling with this car all day long. In practice, he told me that the car was rubbing the ground. The faster that it would go, the harder the nose would actually rub that ground. They made some changes to it. We're hoping to fix the car, but right now it is very loose. Carl described it as terrible. Of course, that's your defending race winner from last year, looking to defend his title and go back to victory lane again today.
As we watch Carl drive into the corners, he's normally a guy that you can count on that's really going to arc his car into the corner. But as we watch him, he's driving it a lot straighter into the corner and trying not to turn the steering wheel. Actually, he probably can't turn the steering wheel because it's so loose. And as he gets it back into the throttle, you can see the car really turn around the bottom. So he's just trying right now. He's got himself in a little bit of a cushion. He's got a couple of car lengths between he and the guy in front, and he's got a little bit of room behind him. So he's just going to ride this out to where they can make adjustments, and he's counting on this racetrack to rubber back up to where his car is going to be good.
He's counting on the track to change some, but now as a driver, Dale, when he's doing this, I mean, do you keep working that car, trying to find a way to get the most out of it the way it is now?
Yeah, you're trying to do that, but I think most of you're trying not to wreck right now, literally. I mean, that might sound crazy, but at times you're just trying not to do that. You understand that this is a 300-lap race. As we see this battle for the lead, Clint Boyer is all over Denny Hamlin right now as they run up on some lap traffic. But you're just trying to do what you can to not hurt the car at this point in time. You may try to search around, but you know there's just really not a lot of grip to be found out there right now.
Yeah, one car, Coleman, up in the walls. You see the leaders now trying to pick their way by. Brad Coleman, the 27 car, already has damage on the left front. DJ, we saw the 2 car get right on the back of the 20 a moment ago and start to make a move, and then suddenly lap traffic. I mean, that's got to get frustrating.
Yeah, that's a little frustrating. So we see him give him a little bit of a love tap right there and decide to find another way around it. These guys have some company with Kevin Harvick now. He's caught them. But, yeah, it's a little frustrating, and you've got to be careful not to let that frustration take over and get yourself in trouble at this point in time. But it looks like Denny's starting to struggle a little bit. We can see his car move up the track. I would guess that his car is probably a little bit loose, and he's not able to turn the wheel, and he's just trying to get himself settled in here and get to that caution too.
One thing that you saw in that 2 car with Boyer, that's actually a defensive move. He was kind of impatient with that 20. He looked up and saw that 33 coming, and he says, if I don't move this 20, I'm going to get moved. So that was actually a defensive move as much as it was offense.
Aggressively defensive, huh?
Yeah. And you know, not only does this racetrack lend itself to that already, as we see the battle for 4th here, David Rudeman really putting a lot of pressure on Scott Wimmer, and Casey Kane's coming up, and Casey will run this high line, and that's what's great about this new surface is you can race everywhere. But these guys know that there's a possibility this could only be a 150-lap race, as we have Kevin Harvick trying to take over the lead too. This is incredible racing.
Heavy traffic for these leaders.
Yeah, Brian Clausen, the 18-year-old in the 41 car, his first trip here, he said, oh my goodness, look at what is happening here. I mean, he's getting passed left and right, but Clausen, promising talent. There is the 33 car, 4-time winner, Harvick.
I promise you the hardest thing about racing here at Bristol is having a car that's not exactly of your liking. This lap traffic is just amazing. If they come out of this and unscathed, it's going to be amazing. But these guys are professionals. That's what they do, and they understand this is Bristol, and that's going to happen. But Kevin Harvick's getting caught down on the bottom behind the 28 car, and he's probably going to lose a spot because of that.
He loses that spot to Denny Hamlin, but he survives that corner.
And there's something to be said for that. But trying to drive your car that's not handling well and stay out of the way of these guys, but stay fast enough that NASCAR doesn't holler at you is the hardest thing about driving at Bristol.
One reason they're racing so hard right here, they know they're going to lap 45, and we're there now. NASCAR's going to throw a competition yellow here pretty quickly.
You saw a squeeze a moment ago, the 99 of Rudeman and the 9 of Casey Kane trying to get through.
Caution's out.
And now here is that competition yellow that Andy Petrie was talking about. NASCAR putting it out to check the tires. After the rain washed all the rubber off, they've given these teams an extra set from 5 sets to 6 sets to deal with some of the wear issues.
That's why you saw those guys racing so hard to try to stay on that lead lap. They knew that caution was coming out, and so they wanted to try to stay on the lead lap.
And that's one thing these guys love about this new surface is, you know, before it was hard to make those kind of moves. You had to literally hope that guy was going to move to the outside to give you the inside because you didn't want to do that. Now we saw him racing 3 wide there again, and I expect that to only intensify as we move forward in this race.
0-1 will get the free pass by virtue of the competition yellow, so he will be able to go back and get on the lead lap. Curtis Davis. They're currently being shown 25 cars in the lead lap as we have 46 laps now complete. That we come down to complete lap number 47.
Pit road will open when the pace car passes the turn 2 entrance of the backstretch pit area. All the cars have to enter there under caution and run the entire length of the backstretch, and then if they're pitting on the front, they have to come back all the way to the front side and make their pit stop.
DJ, one of the most challenging pit roads in all of NASCAR, and you can only run 30 miles an hour.
Yeah, you can only run 30, and you know that most of these guys that have picked pits over here on the front stretch, you've got a long way to go. It's so tempting to want to go and push that just a little bit, but you know that you can't, and you have to really be careful as we get into the corners.
Vince?
David Rudeman is in. He's complaining that the car is tight, center, and off. They're going to give him 4 tires, fuel, and up 1 round on the track bar. Let's now check in with Mike.
And Kevin Harvick on pit road, surrendering the 3rd position on the racetrack. 4 tires and fuel and a slight air pressure adjustment on the left side. Now let's go to the Castrol GTX triple pits with Shannon.
Well, that's right. Your race leader, Clint Boyer, pulls his car in. No adjustments for Clint Boyer. 4 tires and fuel. Dave.
Scott Wimmer gives up 4th position. Casey Kane gives up 5th for Wimmer. He's a little tight in the center of the corner. They'll make an air pressure adjustment for his car and a wedge adjustment as well. For Kane, the main thing he said is get some tape off the front end. We're running at 240 degrees. If you don't get that tape off, we won't finish this race. They'll also reduce the air pressure in the right front, and these guys are still on pit road while Clint Boyer wins the race off.
Casey Kane pitted very close to the wall. It was really a challenge to get those left side tires on. There's the race off. David Regenspun's doing a good job. Up 3 positions. A competition yellow. Caution number 3 on the day. Back with the green in just a moment. Back in Bristol, Tennessee, under green here once again. Clint Boyer is the leader. Denny Hamlin in 2nd spot. Kevin Harvick in his own car back in 3rd. That's Scott Wimmer 4th. As they flash by, just past the 50 lap mark. It's a 300 lap race, halfway 150. They got to go 151. for it to be an official race. And yes, folks, we are being told there may be weather moving in, so that's why there is a sense of urgency among all these drivers.
Yeah, you know that this could be a shorter race, and you have to get it done. There may not be another caution to help you along the way here and to help you with your car. So these guys are giving it everything that they have right now. This essentially is the race for them at this point in time.
This is almost like a local bull ring racetrack. Now, you know, like these 50-lap races, the fixtures they run, they got to get it on.
Little Wallace family contest here. Mike Wallace, by the way, congratulations on his 300th career start. That's in the 7 car. Behind him is second generation. Looking back, that is Stephen Wallace, a 20-year-old who sat on the pole here a year ago.
The best thing Stephen sees is his teammate behind him. He knows that he can at least trust him in this heavy traffic.
How about David Rudeman? He is having a good run. Rudeman, who was so good already in the Cup car here in practice, now running well in the Nationwide car. That's the 99. The 9 car, Casey Kane, who won this race back last August.
Yeah, both of those guys ran awfully well here and were a part of that mix last August. David really likes racing here. His Cup car is extremely fast. I need to talk to him about that, see what's going on there. But he's doing a great job here. He came out of the pits behind Casey Kane and has passed him and is moving on.
Guys, crew chief Jerry Baxter told David Rudeman early in that first run when Rudeman was talking about how good the car was and just wanting to be patient. Baxter said, we're probably racing to halfway, so keep that in mind as you make your way through the traffic. Interesting with the potential of the weather moving in.
David's a good listener because he's got it going right now. He's passed Casey Kane and moved out about 6 or 8 car lengths from there.
This is the same car, by the way, they finished third with here back in August. And in fact, they were pushing Jason Leffler across the line at the checkered flag. Speaking of pushing, how about Denny Hamlin right up on the backside of the 2 car of Boyer?
Yeah, they had some lap traffic there that was racing side by side, and that's the challenge these guys get on restarts. You have the lap traffic that you're battling, and you're racing the guys that are still in the same laps. It makes it very difficult, and if they get to racing side by side, you have to choose which way you're going, and that allows a lot of guys to catch you from behind.
Trouble out of turn 2. The rookie driver, Brian Clausen, heavy contact in the back of his Dodge. Kelly Byers there in the 47 also gets a piece of it. He spins and gets the car righted.
For that right rear quarter. I think we might be good here, Scott. Let me take a look at it.
Brian Clausen, the impressive 18-year-old who finished 6th at Daytona in the opener this year, but has had some hard licks and some hard times. This is the latest one for young Clausen down in the corner as he goes around and has contact.
About to wrap up the 4th caution in the NASCAR Nationwide Series race at Bristol. Our coverage presented by GoDaddy.com. Delayed 2 hours by rain to start with. And now let's show you quickly the radar before the restart. See the Bristol Motor Speedway kind of in the bullseye there? Well, yeah, it's in the bullseye.
There's a lot of guys looking at the radar right now. They know that weather's coming. They know they're going to get to halfway as quick as they possibly can, and that's on their mind right now.
Before we get the restart, Brian Clausen, the driver involved in that last crash. Been a tough day for him, Vince.
It has indeed. Had an incident in the morning practice and now early stages here. Brian, what happened with the incident?
You know, I don't really know. You know, we were just cruising around trying to stay in the lucky dog, and you know, about 7 or 8 lead lap cars got by me fine, but I guess Jason felt like he needed to run right in the back of us there. But hate it for all my guys. You know, worked really hard getting the backup car ready today, and it was actually not too bad. You know, we're a few adjustments away from being competitive, but you know, hate that it ended like that.
Doc?
Thanks, Vince. Clint Boyer pulls away and will lead him down. Boyer now has led 29 laps today. He had only led 2 laps in the first 4 events of the year. Denny Hamlin, who led the first 37 laps of this race, running in 2nd spot. They're going to black flag the 66 car, we're being told, for passing on the left side at the restart before the start-finish line.
The rule is you can pass when the green flag comes out. You can start passing, but you have to do it to the right side. If you pass to the left before you get to the start-finish line,
We got to stop and go here, bud, for jumping to start.
it's a black flag. So here he's going to have to make a pass-through penalty. Looks like Carl Edwards got his car handling pretty good. Oh, got the 20 car off the pace.
Denny Hamlin abruptly slowing.
Stay out. Okay, stay out, stay out. Keep rolling slow so nobody hits you.
And guys, I think they've got a right rear tire going down. You can see that the 20 team up on the wall ready to pit the car for Denny Hamlin. And you know what's remarkable? We were just looking at the tires they took off the car after lap 45 in the competition caution. All the tires look very good. They were extremely happy with them, but right now, obviously a problem with the 20 car.
Mike, he's got a right front tire down. He's trying to get the thing down off the racetrack, and he couldn't turn it down. He had to wait for traffic. And we see he's coming in the pits now, and he's going to get some service. Get him a new right front tire.
Dave Rogers and the Joe Gibbs crew waiting on him, and it's like an eternity at 30 miles an hour.
Well, finally gets there.
Right side tires going on for Denny Hamlin, lap 71, and there's the leader of the 2 car of Clint Boyer. Hamlin will lose 3 laps, at least 3 laps on the track, as the leader will come by and try to go by him once again.
Yeah, now he was able to come back out under green flag conditions. You just have to go in the pits on the side that you're pitted on, and then you can exit in the opposite corner there. So he could go right back up on the racetrack.
Left side of your screen, Boyer. Right side, the 33 car, that is Kevin Harvick. You heard the interview during our rainfield about how excited he was about maybe getting his first win himself for his own team. Pretty good battle here on the racetrack. The 7 car and the 1 car. Mike Wallace and Johnny Sauter for 13th position.
Looks like Johnny Sauter, his crew got his car fixed up, that right front fender, and he's still able to be competitive.
Guys, more bad news for the 20 car. We're being told there's a lug nut missing, and they're going to call.
Bring it to us, Dave. Bring it to us. Missing lug nut.
Gonna have to bring him back in and put that lug nut on.
It says time, second gear, 3700. Keep coming, start braking, stop.
It looked like they did struggle with getting the lug nuts on both the front and rear, and Denny left, and I thought maybe they had them all, but maybe not. Looks like they had one missing.
Now watch this stop. Let's see. Watch the rear tire changer here.
Well, we see the front tire changer. He gets one out of his mouth to put on the right front. It looks like he gets that one, but the rear tire changer was also having trouble, and the jackman was trying to concentrate probably on that front tire changer and just missed it back there.
Danny has been back on and off pit road, gets the lug nuts tight, and he will head back out in that 20 car.
Well, the luck is not with this 20 team, but boy, they've got some speed.
Yeah, they've had some fast race cars in every single race. Obviously, Tony winning the first 2, but just haven't had everything to go their way. So it made a long day for our in-race reporter, Denny Hamlin, here today.
Dave?
You guys have heard of cooler heads prevailing here at Bristol. How about a cooler race car? That is the case for Casey Kane. They got that tape off the front grille, and it is about 30 degrees cooler during the last run. They also have to make a future adjustment. That is add 400 RPM to his pit road speed. He lost so much ground to Scott Weaver coming down pit road last time. He said, guys, let's rethink this. And they said, yep, our bad. We need to add 400 RPM to the speed at which you come down pit road. So Casey Kane going to do it a little differently as Kevin Harvick now tries to get underneath Clint Boyer.
Oh my goodness, he nearly had a collision there, and Harvick backed out of it.
Well, I tell you, that was some tight racing right there. But when we're talking about that RPM, they better hope that they don't need just 300 RPM and they add 400 to it, because that 30 miles an hour is very slow.
Very dicey a moment ago, DJ, for the leader, Clint Boyer.
Yeah, we see the leader has come up on some lap traffic that squeezes him up. He has to get out of the throttle, gives Kevin Harvick the opportunity to get down to the inside. But Kevin realizes exactly what's happening there, and he actually gave Clint Boyer a break. They are teammates, and gave him a little bit of a break, because the hardest thing here, again, is racing in this type of situation. Shannon?
Yeah, Dale, that was what Clint Boyer told his crew chief just a little while ago before this last restart, that his car is great, feels good. He's having trouble maneuvering through the traffic, finding a line. He's saying that the guys really aren't running a specific line, so when he comes up to that lap traffic, having a hard time getting around.
Well, it can get close in a hurry here. Boyer trying to hang on. He didn't waste much time behind Franchitti a moment ago.
No, you can't waste a lot of time. You know, you got the guy in second right on your bumper, so you can't waste a lot of time, but you don't want to put yourself in a position like that leading the race either. So you have to show a little bit of patience, but you also have to be a little bit aggressive too. As we see, run up on the 40 car right here. You want to get in the throttle, but he's got your lane right there. Kevin Harvick realizes that the outside's not going to be the place to go. You just have to be patient, wait a second, and that's good. These guys are teammates on the Cup side, and that's probably to both of their benefit right now.
And in fairness to Franchitti, he was trying to pass DJ Kennington on the bottom side and realized he had the leader on his tail and was going to back out of it and try to get out of the way, it looks like. Coming in on 90 of 300 laps, Clint Bowyer has led for 51 laps, the two-time winner in 2007, trying to get his first win in 2008 here at the Bristol Motor Speedway.
We'll be back after these messages and a word from our ADC stations.
Working caution here on lap 94. Pit stops are happening right now. Kevin Harvick radioed in. He was going to stay on the racetrack, estimating that rain is only 15 minutes away. Instead, he decided to pit, took 4 tires. Let's go to Shannon.
Well, Mike, Clint Bowyer's still very happy with the car, telling his crew chief 4 tires and fuel. Dave.
Well, guys, Casey Kane had a little damage from that altercation with the 40 car, right front damage. They are going to change 4 tires, and they're going to make some adjustments as well for Casey. But the main thing was the damage that he had there, and doesn't look like they're going to pull too hard on that right front. So it may only be superficial, which would be very good for this 9 team.
Caution number 5 on the afternoon. There's the race off of pit road. The rain's moving in. Could have been a money stop for Bowyer, Harvick, Reagan, Kane, and Rudeman. Why are we under yellow? Contact. Casey Kane in the 9 car and Dario Franchitti up in the corner. Franchitti's car slides up and comes back down across the racetrack, but the yellow comes out. Getting set to restart as we approach 100 laps here at Bristol. Back at Bristol Motor Speedway, the 22 car, Mike Bliss spinning around as we were just getting to go back to green, and he loops his Dodge around. A little bit of damage on the back of Mike Bliss, one of our top 10 points contenders, running full-time in the NASCAR Nationwide Series. Show you what happened to Mike here a moment ago in the corner.
He just got loose. Looks like he hooked the apron with the left front. Marcus Ambrose then got into the back of it.
Yeah, you used to have to do that here a lot of times to get the car to turn. If your car's a little bit tight, you could hook that apron. Now, that thing's still a little bit damp, and plus you don't really have to do that anymore. When you do, you see the result of what can happen.
The leaders came in and pitted on the previous caution flag now, but the 33 car was called back in because of an issue with a lug nut.
Yeah, they left a lug nut off the left rear. They pull out of here, and looks like NASCAR, it might have been the left front. You see him pointing, the NASCAR official. So they had to come back down pit road right as they were going green. Kevin was very lucky to get back out without losing a lap, so that was a big break for him when this caution came out.
Yeah, he just got back out in front of the leaders, and then the caution came out, and he was able to go around and stay on the lead lap.
Looks like the 66 car, Stephen Wallace, will be our Aaron's lucky dog, free pass winner. He raced hard for it too. They went back green, and he was really digging, trying to get that spot.
Yeah,
paid off.
He's got a good race car, and he did race hard, and that's what you have to do here. He was in that spot, and he had to get himself in that position, and he did a terrific job of making that happen. The last restart, he had passed on the left before he got to the start-finish line, and so that created a problem.
Stephen Wallace, one of the guys you guys thought might break through today. I mean, the young driver trying to get his win here, now getting back on the lead lap.
He still might be our breakthrough guy. It's still not over yet.
It's far from over. Remember, that Wallace name's pretty good here. Now, what happens with lug nuts, and why do we leave lug nuts loose? Let's show you what happens with our Chevy cutaway cars we go down to Tim Brewer.
Tell you what you're looking at, Jerry. These 4 lug nuts are on the car, but if you hadn't got this 5th one on there, at least even hanging, NASCAR is going to come. So you got to go back and hit that thing. But these guys are under so much pressure to get all these lug nuts on there, it's pretty hard to do, especially when the jack man's out of sync with the tire changers. Pretty tough act here at Bristol.
Thank you, Tim, and certainly a little lug nut, which seems such a simple thing. You just put it on and tighten it, but my goodness, how many races over the years have been affected by one left off?
It's just all about the details. NASCAR requires that lug nut to just be on. They don't require it to be a certain tightness. They don't go check it and see how tight it is. They just look to see if it's on there, and if it's on, you're good. If it's completely off, that's when the penalty comes.
Andy, does the weather have something to do with these maybe fall off, that they didn't get them glued up and they didn't have time to set up?
Well, here's the problem. They glued them up earlier in the day, and the longer that glue sets up, it gets harder and more brittle. So when you pop that tire up on there, instead of that glue being pliable and the lug nut kind of staying in place, it'll just pop right off of there.
The weather they're referring to was rains, torrential rains here just after lunch today, and thunder and lightning. That's moved away, and we are underway with racing, but there are showers about 15 or 20 minutes out, we're being told. So these guys are trying to get to lap 150 to see if they can be the leader in case the weather does move in and halt activity.
You see the 29 car is the leader, Scott Wimmer. He stayed out on that last caution when everyone else came in, and also Greg Biffle, who was in second, along with Carl Edwards. But Clint Boyer is making short work of these guys right now.
That puts Denny Hamlin 3 laps down. He was 4. He gets one of them back right here. Get enough cautions, he might get them all back.
And Denny Hamlin having a tire go down in the unscheduled pit stop and in the unscheduled return to the pits because of a lug nut issue. Now, there is Boyer in the 2 car taking the lead.
He looks like he has that car that looks like Rusty Wallace used to look here all the time. It didn't matter where he started or where he was. He would always end up right here where Clint is in front. He really is going around the bottom of the racetrack and has good acceleration off the corner. What do you think, Rusty?
DJ, you got to run the bottom of the racetrack. It's the fastest way around. Although, since this racetrack is banked different now, you thought they could get up in that second lane, and I'm not seeing a lot of that right now. But, hey, if you can run the bottom every lap, that's the shortest way around. That's where you're going to win at.
Guys, don't look now, but old Concrete Carl starting to make a little noise back there in that 60 car. Remember, you talked about how much of a struggle he was having, Andy, at the top of the show, but he won 4 of 5 races on concrete a year ago, including this one here, and now his car is starting to come to life a little bit.
His car looked great right before that last, or the 2 cautions ago, but when these guys pitted, Casey Kane has got new tires on his car, but Carl, he's sitting out there on tires that's got a few more laps on them. Shannon, you got more on the 60?
Well, Doc, Carl Edwards is definitely struggling with this car. I think it's a little loose right there earlier in the race. But right now, the word is good. The car is good. And, of course, he stayed out on that last pit stop. I spoke to PK, his crew chief, just moments ago. I said, hey, are you guys planning to go to 150 or the whole way? He said, we're racing to 150, expecting the rain to come like everyone else out here.
You know, they're really not racing to lap 150. When the race gets to lap 150, it's official. They don't really know exactly when that rain's going to hit, so that's what makes this such a moving target for these crew chiefs.
Vince, more on David Rudiman.
Well, Rudiman and his crew chief, Jerry Baxter, certainly with a regular to go 300 laps. Baxter telling Rudiman, we're looking at 151. Weather's just around the corner. Do what you can do to get where you got to be.
DJ, what is that like when you're in the car and you keep hearing your spotters and crew chiefs saying, as you watch David Streamy now and Johnny Sauter go for position, when they say you got to hustle, guys, weather's on the way? I mean, how much pressure does that put on you?
Yeah, it changes your whole race strategy because you were looking at 300 laps. Now, as we see Kevin Harvick trying to battle from the back, he's making headway, and we're starting to get a few sprinkles. So you just change your whole mindset. I've got to go wide open right now, and I don't care who's in my way.
But right now, we're at a lap 115. If it happens to rain now, this race is going to restart again. So you got to be a little bit patient. I mean, you know these guys are trying to get everything they can get, but you got to at least keep the big picture in mind here.
But that's only 35 laps, and they're making laps here at 16 seconds a lap. So that's going to be here before you know it. We could talk about sprinkles for 5 minutes, and we'll be at that 150 lap mark. So these guys are thinking, we've got to get to that right now. That's our race right now, and we'll see what happens from there.
The 6 car of David Reagan had a very good car here last fall, finished 6th. And he was one of the guys we talked about that might have a good shot, as good as he was in this practice earlier today, at being one of our breakthrough winners here at Bristol. "119 laps. We are 31 laps away from halfway. Weather may just be moments away from hitting Bristol. Stay with us. Clint Boyer, the leader."
Looking down on beautiful Bristol Motor Speedway, our aerial coverage brought to you by DirecTV. NASCAR Hot Pass, only on DirecTV, puts you behind the wheel. And I want to remind you that ABC is your NBA destination tomorrow. A couple of great matchups, 1 Eastern, New Orleans and Detroit. The Pistons trying to make a run at the Celtics for that top spot in the Eastern Conference. Then the Houston Rockets, 21 straight wins, hosting Kobe Bryant and the Lakers. Going to be a great one. The NBA on ABC Sunday, starting at 12:30 Eastern with GMC NBA Countdown. Right now, got a race between the clouds and the rain and the lap counter to get to lap 150 and make this an official event.
There's a lot of guys in a hurry. I'm watching the lap timers right now, the speeds of these cars around the racetrack, and they're all within like a 1/10 of a second. And man, that is such a tight field for what we normally have here at Bristol. I'm watching every lap here, Dale, and I just can't believe how close they're running every lap here.
It's unbelievable. It's great racing, and right now we've got Casey Kane that have called the 2 leaders. He's a little higher than the other guys. We see the 2 car and the 29 down on the bottom, but Casey Kane's making this second groove work a little bit. Dave, you got more on the 9?
Kane's got those 4 fresh tires, no real damage to the right front of that car. Wimmer stayed out. He's on older tires. And guys, bumper bar is important to the right front of that car. They said, Casey, don't worry about it. We built this car tough. You always do that at Bristol, right?
Absolutely, Dave. And Casey Kane, who started way back in 23rd spot here last August, did just what he is doing today. He drove through the field, and the car got better and better. He only led 10 laps, but here's the good part. 9 of them were the final 9 laps of the race.
Well, see, Clint Boyer looked in the mirror, saw that 9 car working that outside groove, and he's thinking, if I'm going to keep him behind me, I got to try it. And he's trying that outside groove now.
And it might not work that good for him, but he slowed Casey Kane down.
Yeah, right. He took his
that
groove.
momentum.
This 20 car, Denny Hamlin's been holding up these guys too.
Mike Bliss and Kevin Harvick, the 33 and 22 there on your screen. They are 10th and 11th. And Bliss has got a pretty good hot rod.
Yeah, he got involved in that early spin. Here we got another battle for position. Carl's struggling now with these old tires on, trying to maintain this top 10 spot. He's 6th, and he's battling Brad Keselowski right now for that spot.
Brad Keselowski finished 7th here last August, coming off tying his own record, finishing 6th last week at Atlanta. Takes a spot away. More on Keselowski with Vince.
Guys, Tony Eury Jr. told me earlier today that the one thing about Brad Keselowski he really likes is the fact he has a great feel for the race car. When he tells him it's tight, he knows it's tight. And right now, as Keselowski has battled the tight car earlier, he says it's feeling much better. And as you saw him move past the 60, it looks like it's pretty good too.
Could be for the win up front here. Great battle. We are just 13 laps away from the halfway point at 150 with weather moving in. Clint Boyer understands that, and so does Casey Kane. And boy, one car, Wimmer, all the way up across the racetrack, gathers it back in as you watch this battle here for the lead.
Yeah, Casey Kane's car's not quite as good on the bottom, and he's a little upset right now that probably Clint's spotter, because you have a hard time looking in the mirror, but I'm sure his spotter told him that, hey, the 9's coming, he's in about a groove up from you, and Clint's moved up, and he's held Casey behind him.
That's not really blocking. That's just taking away the guy's groove. If you take it away from him, he can't use it. So I wouldn't consider that blocking.
No, not at all. And you know, Casey's going to take any chance that he gets to do that again, to get back into that. But no, it's not blocking at all. It's just Clint being smart, knowing that he can take that away just a little bit.
Moving in on lap traffic, Marcus Ambrose and Mark Green ahead for the 2 car. There's Green in the 70 car. They were running side by side.
Lap cars could decide this thing right here. These guys get in this lap traffic, and they zig when they should zag. It could be a problem for these leaders.
Going by Stanton Barrett in the 30 car.
We've got 10 laps to the halfway point right now. We see Clint Boyer move up. He's just a half a groove up from where he was right on the bottom earlier, but that's working extremely well for him.
Like the second groove right now is really starting to come in. I mean, early in the race, the track looked really white, and now it's starting to get darker. And Dale, I'm watching him. Casey Kane working that top lane, getting a lot of momentum off of turn 2 and off of turn 4.
Yeah, that's what's great about this new surface, Rusty, is that you do have that capabilities. Before that, you really couldn't ever get up there and make any time. And we see Casey Kane, as you said, really getting a run off of turn 2. And I won't be surprised to see him go on and make this move for the lead here shortly.
He's got the best car. He's able to stay right on Clint's bumper.
Casey Kane using the middle groove. Now, DJ, the lap cars are taking Casey's groove away, but he doesn't go to the high side.
And another lap car's in the way. Which way are they going?
Oh, right in front of Robert Richardson in the 4 car and Ambrose, and somehow the 2 and the 9 get by without either one having damage.
That's some great race car driving right there.
You know, that's why these fans pack this place. They love to see that. It's not just about the guys that are running fast. It's about the cars that they have to dodge that are struggling a little bit.
There's racing everywhere. Check these guys out.
Harvick in the 33. There's Edwards in the 60.
I think Harvick's probably still a little bit upset about having to come back in and get that lug nut on, so he's driving his heart out.
Well, he's the one guy out there for sure right now that's praying that it doesn't rain, because he knows he has a fast race car, and he's used that little bit of anger that he's got inside of him right now to work his way back. He has a really fast race car.
He's running 9th right now, so he's moved his way back up pretty good so far.
They go on
3 wide.
Yeah. That's Eric McClure, and he was the sandwich there as they went above him and below him. And now David Reagan and Harvick, couple of Fords going side by side.
These two guys have been duking it out here since the restart. Carl working that upper groove on those old tires.
Reagan and Edwards, I should say, 2 of the Roush Fenway cars.
Yeah, Carl just hasn't been able to get his car to the bottom of the racetrack at all. Even though that groove's coming in some, it looks like he just can't get in there and get to the gas the way that he needs to. He's having to wait just a split second longer, and that's costing him some spots.
1 lap away from halfway as they come down, and it's a halfway point, 150 laps. So if it rains now, folks, this one would, and we could not get it restarted, although NASCAR would attempt to get the track dry and restart this race, it would be official.
Key thing for these guys now is got to stay out front, because you don't know when this rain's going to hit. I mean, it's all around us, and if you're, you want to be the guy leading when it does rain.
Yeah, Andy, we've talked about them racing hard to get to this point, to get to halfway. They have to continue to race hard because, as you said, you don't know when that rain's going to come, and if it comes, is it going to stop? So they have to keep battling, which is to our advantage because we see great racing.
And they're not going to let up. They're going to race just like it was the last lap, because it just might be. You never know.
I'm sure Clint Boyer's saying, as he's the leader, he's probably thinking, I wish these lap guys would all go to the outside or the inside. Just give me a clue as to which way you're going to go. And that's what you're thinking as a driver. Just give me an idea of which way you're going to go, and I'll make it work from there.
61 car, that's Kevin LePage, a former winner here at Bristol in the Nationwide Series competition. By the way, the 3rd place car is David Rudeman. He's about 2 seconds behind this battle.
Here we go. He's going to make that little crossover move and try to get on the inside of Clint.
Yeah, he had a real run right there, and Clint kind of took that away from him, which is what you do here at Bristol.
Had to fall back in line. Bobby Labonte there on the bottom side of the racetrack in the 21.
Clint's looking for his next pick, and the next lap car he can use to peel off this 9 car.
More on Casey Kane with Dave.
And remember, Doc, this is 2 weeks in a row that they've been very, very fast. Last week, a pit road bobble put them back in the pack, and they didn't get the free pass until late in the race. So 2 weeks in a row, this 9 team showing its strength with Casey Kane at the wheel.
Casey Kane trying to get there. We are past the halfway point. Clint Boyer has led 108 laps, Denny Hamlin 37, and Scott Wimmer 10. Casey Kane has not led, but he's doing everything he can to change that.
The drama builds here at Bristol. The caution flag has just come out for rain. 13 laps past halfway. Casey Kane was stalking Clint Boyer, was not able to pass him. Now the question is, was that just the end of the race? We'll have to see. We'll have to wait and find out. Wow.
Oh, man, he had so much momentum. Casey did. Worked the top and then drove underneath them, and a lap car was there. I mean, that lap car could have cost him the race right there.
Well, Clint has a really good race car, obviously, and he did everything he could possibly do to use up Casey's lane every time he would try to make a lane switch. So we could be looking at the winner right there.
Just in case you're not familiar with NASCAR rules, just to refresh again, once a race reaches its official halfway point, if weather interferes and for whatever reason NASCAR is not able to restart the race, then the results are considered official. That's why all this drama as the race got to halfway and Casey Kane was continuing to pressure Clint Boyer. Now you look at the radar, we're just in that smaller piece of green where the Bristol Motor Speedway's in the bullseye, but the bigger piece of green is still to come.
Yeah, but if that piece can get past us, I believe we got about an hour of racing in there we can still do.
So if you're Clint Boyer's team, I might want to ask Mr. Petrie this, our resident crew chief. You've been running for a while on this set of tires. do you take a chance on pitting here, or do you just leave him out on the racetrack and see what happens?
Oh, Alan, that's a tough one. If I'm Clint Boyer's crew chief, I got to leave him out there because you just don't know. This weather's too iffy. But this is actually an opportunity for some of these guys to go ahead and take a gamble on maybe getting in here like we see Scott Wimmers on pit road getting 4 tires. I would do that in that position. But these leaders, the top 2 or 3 guys, have to stay out because you just never know.
That was Dan Deringhoff, easy for me to say. Clint Boyer's crew chief, you heard him there saying stay out. So most of the front runners gonna stay out, but a few of the guys chasing them, they've got nothing to lose. Come on in, get some tires, get some fresh rubber, see if you can maybe take the lead, and then have it rain for you, because we're going back racing in 2 more laps according to NASCAR. So we'll take a quick time out here, come back and see how this all unfolds. The weather, the laps, the race lead, good stuff at Bristol.
We'll be back after these messages and a word from our ABC stations.
Back at Bristol Motor Speedway, working lap 170. We've had a rain shower move across the racetrack. Clint Boyer is the leader, and the guy behind him, you saw a little bit ago, Kasey Kahne was digging as hard as he could to make the pass. Let's listen to what Kasey says to say on the radio.
It's good. It's tough to pass. He's gonna, he just floored it early in the corner, so he'd run me off into the wall on the exit. I couldn't, I never could get a good enough position on him unless I just wanted to mess the toe and everything up.
Yeah, what Kasey's talking about, he could get in on that high side of Clint Boyer, but he just, as he picked the throttle up, he couldn't get far enough up. Clint had enough room there to kind of squeeze him, and he knew if he tried to push the issue too much that he was going to be in the wall and mess the toe up. And
yeah, and if you mess the toe up, you're done anyway. So that's really smart heads-up racing on Kasey Kahne's part.
Sprinkles falling here at Bristol. The track dryers are out. The jet dryers are on the racetrack. We have not lost the racetrack. It is still dry enough to race. We're just hoping this shower moves over. Staying under caution, back in just a moment.
There's never been a better time to get lost. One of the best seasons yet this Thursday, and one of the most shocking lost moments of the season. Someone will die, and you'll see a face you never expected to see again. An all-new Lost Thursday at 9, 8 Central on ABC. And you see the field of cars here at Bristol Motor Speedway has been pulled down the pit lane. The red flag has been waved. Damp track because of a light shower. And they will park the cars here after 171 laps. While we wait to see what's going to happen here with NASCAR and the weather, let's check down on pit road with the leaders' crew chief. Shannon?
Well, that's right, Alan. If it was to end right now, Clint Boyer would be the winner of this race. But you are hoping, you are thinking that we might be able to go the entire way. This is Dan Deringhoff, of course, Clint Boyer's crew chief. How will the car be if we do go all the way? Will you guys have the car to beat?
Oh, I hope so. It's starting to tighten up on us a little bit right now, and if we get enough rain, it'll clean the track off and be just like it was when we started the race, and probably won't make any changes again. But if we don't get much rain, I'll have to make a couple changes, and I think we still have the car to beat.
Now, what's Clint's mood right now? Is a little bit hectic there for a little bit, racing with Kasey Kahne as we got close to that halfway point. What's he saying right now?
Right now, he says, I just want to win here. I don't care how I have to do it, if it's rain shortened or not. But honestly, I'd like to see it go the whole way and win it the right way.
All right, well, Clint Boyer, of course, looking for his first win here at Bristol Motor Speedway. Dave?
And Shannon, we've caught up with Kirk Almquist, the crew chief for Kasey Kahne. This all happened pretty fast. You started out with a pit stop that didn't go so well in a car that wasn't acting just right, and now you're battling for the win.
Yeah, Kasey's doing a heck of a job out there today. The car's been really good all day. We started out a little bit too much on the free side, and made some air pressure adjustments there, and he really liked it, and the car took off. Really don't like to see the rain quite yet. We were hoping.
The 2 team says it's just pouring, and the track's too wet to race.
Man, it looks clear to me. I think we can get going here, but no, the car's really good, and crew's doing a heck of a job, and Kasey's, of course, Kasey Kahne, so what can you say about him?
He's been fun to watch on the high side, Vince.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. enjoying watching his driver in the 88 machine. Brad Keselowski's had a good run. What's impressed you about the early going with the 88 car today?
How good it was on the long run right there. He clicked off about 5 spots after they got going for a while. It's pretty good to see that. He's pretty pumped up about how good his car is, and would like to get another shot at the rest of the field, see if we can improve even more on where we are now.
Tony Urey Sr. told me earlier today that Brad's got a real good feel for the car. Do you communicate much with him about his driving style, or do you let him do it, and if he has a question, come to you?
Yeah, he asks a lot of questions, but I don't really preach to him at all. But, he seems to have a real good knack already, good raw talent for it, and he's just learning as he goes, making mistakes and learning from them and having some good runs and understanding how those happen. So he's got a great teacher with Tony Sr. on the box, and a good crew and a good team around him. And so that's good. He's got a lot of good things going for him. He's in a really good program right now, and I would be pretty proud.
Yeah, and the 88 driver, Brad Keselowski, certainly recognizes the fact that he's in a good program right now as well. Let's go down on Bestwick.
Yeah, Vincent, he's in a good position as well, in 4th spot as we sit under the red flag. So Casey Kane continuing to pursue Clint Boyer if we go back racing. He has had a solid race so far after starting 7th, though it hasn't been clean. Has anybody had a clean race?
Oh, no clean race at all. Look at this 3 wide right down the center. And Casey's just diving away. That's what this multi-groove banking does for you. You can race all over this track.
Little contact here.
Absolutely. He runs up on Dario there, and Dario just couldn't quite get out of the way. Casey had such a big run. It gets him to him lightly, causes a caution.
But no significant damage to that right front fender. And then just as the rain was approaching and the caution would eventually wave, Kane all over Clint Boyer, just couldn't get around.
Oh, man, just so close, but yet so far away for Casey Kane. That was unreal. I mean, he drove his brains out. He knew the rain was coming, had to get it done then.
So here's what I'm thinking as those cars sit under the red flag for rain. 11 cars stayed on the racetrack, including Clint Boyer and Casey Kane, but other lead lap cars came down pit road. If for some reason the rain stops, this track dries up, and we go back racing quickly, now what do you do if you're Clint Boyer? You've been on the racetrack for 76 laps since you pitted. You have to come in and get tires, right?
Well, I would think you'd have to come down and get tires right as soon as it goes back, Alan. There's no doubt about that. But those fellas that pitted, they're in the back. When all those other guys pit, that's going to cycle them to the front. And, man, all of a sudden, hey, that's a pretty good feeling right there.
You know who's really coming that we keep forgetting about in this thing? I know.
Here it comes.
Yes, sir. Kevin Harvick is coming. He is in 6th position. He had the fastest race car on the track when we started this event. So if we get a little bit of rain, wash a little bit of that rubber off, I think Kevin Harvick can get back to the front.
Now, understand, we talk about all this strategy, but Clint Boyer's crew chief had no choice with the rain falling. You've got to leave the man out there in the lead. Let's hear from the driver. Mike?
And that's exactly right, Alan. Obviously, with the lead, you had no choice. You had to stay on the racetrack. But if this thing does go back to green, what do you do?
That's a good question. We had to do that with the rain coming, the weather. Everybody's calling for weather, so we stayed out, tried to make it as wide as we could. We're really way too tight right now, but if it goes back green, we need some tires. We need to work on the car. It's obviously not fast enough. Casey's quite a bit faster, but just trying everything I had to hold him off.
Alan, if he has a little bit more of his rain dance in him, that might help too.
All right, Mike, so we'll have to see what happens here. The cars sit under the red flag for rain. We have completed 171 of the 300 scheduled laps. There is further weather in the area, but they're trying to dry the track now. Stick around, coming back to Bristol.
ESPN's coverage of the NASCAR Nationwide Series on ABC, presented by GoDaddy.com, where you can make the web your domain with a .com name for as low as $1.99.
Back at Bristol Motor Speedway, good crowd on hand. They sold over 120,000 tickets, and yeah, there's another Dale Jarrett fan. Goodbye, Dale. And of course, if you just joined our coverage tomorrow, Dale Jarrett makes his 668th and final start in the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series, and we're glad to have him in the booth with us today and joining us full-time here on our ABC and ESPN coverage. And DJ and Andy, got to ask about the strategy here now. The top 9 cars stayed on the racetrack, did not pit. Those guys that did come in now are probably in pretty good shape, because if we go back racing, that other cell could be like 30 minutes away.
That's why I said it's not a good day to be a crew chief. It's really dicey up there for these guys, because these leaders had to stay out. They didn't have any choice because it was raining. The other guy saw an opportunity. Scott Wimmer, he's my pick. He can go all the way now without without making another pit stop. These other guys cannot go all the way, so they are counting on having rain either now or later. If they get going, they're not going to make it all the way, so it's going to be a real iffy thing for these guys.
Andy, I think that they're going to have to come in if we get this back going. They're going to have to come in, which is going to be good for us and all of our viewers because it's going to make for great racing. But whenever you come over and ask me, what do you think we should do? I'm going to say that's why my contract says driver. You get paid to make these decisions, and it's a tough decision, but they're going to be in it together, and it's going to make interesting afternoon and the rest of these 130 laps for us.
Just out of curiosity, you called the shots for Dale Earnhardt Sr. through the years in his championship. What would he do in something like that? Would you ask him, or would obviously I think he would make the call, right?
No, he would not make the call. I made that call.
You made the call.
I would make it. He might not agree with it, but that's why we make. I mean, we have to make these calls as a crew chief. You got to say, okay, I'm going to gamble. I'm going to gamble that it's going to rain before this race is over and leave my guy out, or I'm going to gamble and say it's going to go all the way to the green to the end and pull my guy in right now and go to the back. It's a gamble either way. I mean, so, somebody's got to make the call, and that guy is the crew chief.
And here's the good news. The cheer you heard a moment ago, they pulled the dryers off the racetrack, and they're getting everyone back in the cars ready to go. As we're going to find out exactly what you do and what you adjust if you come on the pit road here and make a stop before the next shower comes along. Let's go down to our ESPN Dish Tech Center and Tim Brewer.
Thanks, Jerry. What we're going to be talking about here, Clint Boyer said, my car's tight. I got to have 4 tires. I'm going to free this thing up. What he's probably going to do, he's got a rubber in the left rear spring. As he pulls that rubber out, it's going to lower the spring rate right here, let the car rotate through the center of the corner. You give him them 4 Goodyear Eagles, take that rubber out of the left rear, he's going to be back in the game here at Bristol. Jerry?
Tim, it looks simple, but obviously you got to have a lot of knowledge and understanding to make that kind of adjustment. And it is a bit of a gutsy adjustment here, knowing that the race is on the line.
We say these adjustments, and you say, well, okay, you might take that spring rubber out or put it in, and it makes it go better through the corner. The trick is to know when to make that adjustment, when the car needs it. There's not a magic setup or something, that you can say, okay, this is going to run faster every time. It's going to make your car run faster if it needs it. If it doesn't, it could actually hurt it.
Yeah, and I'm going to question, okay, how much time are we going to give up here in trying to make that adjustment? We've got to get out of these pits as quickly as we possibly can. So it's going to take a little bit of extra time. We can't afford to give up any track position.
They fired the cars up. The shower is moved out. The track drying is complete. Clint Boyer now. Some of these guys have some decisions to make. Can Boyer hang on and win on the concrete at Bristol Motor Speedway? A year ago, it was Carl Edwards who was king of the concrete. 4 wins in 5 starts on concrete tracks in 2007. Look at the career wins there. Edwards pretty good. Harvick not bad at all. He's had 5 wins, 4 of which came here. Clint Boyer, a 2-time winner on concrete racing service. And what's the big difference between an asphalt track and a concrete track in terms of from the driver's standpoint?
I think the biggest thing is with a radial tire on a concrete surface, you just don't ever feel like your race car is totally down in the racetrack. And the teams that are able to get their car closest to that and give their driver that feel are the ones that do the best. And I think, as we saw there, these guys know the feel they're looking for, and they're able to communicate that to their teams.
There's no doubt that Kevin Harvick is very good at this racetrack, as evidenced by his 4 wins here. He is along with Morgan Shepherd, the 2 winningest drivers in this series at this track. But he's had a full day, Andy Petrie. Had to come back from some early situations as he had to avoid some of the pushing and shoving in the early laps.
He battles for the lead real hard with Clint Boyer, right here almost making contact. And everything was going great for the 33 team until they come into the pits, make a call for 4 tires. When Kevin said he actually wanted to stay on the racetrack, they leave a lug nut off and had to come back into the pits and get it fixed. And then he started at the back, has moved his way all the way up to the front.
Yeah, but he could have taken himself right out of this race early if he would have pushed the issue there with Clint Boyer, possibly getting both of them in a bad position. But now he's got himself back in a position where he still has a chance at winning this race.
Kevin Harvick has raced here 16 times. He has 4 wins. Tying the track record with Morgan Shepherd, 2 poles, and look, folks, 12 times out of 16 starts, he has come home in the top 10 at a very tough racetrack, Bristol Motor Speedway. And here's the bad news. They are waving the red flag once again because a little more of a shower has moved across the racetrack. NASCAR flagman Kevin Moss doesn't look real happy about having to hold that red hanky out there and wave it in front of the fans and in front of the drivers.
But the good news is I don't see a lot of raindrops falling. The racetrack is still in pretty good shape.
Sold over 120,000 tickets, we are being told today, and roughly 85 to 90,000 fans have weathered the storms literally throughout the afternoon. And loyal NASCAR fans, glad to have you with us, as folks, those of you watching at home. And of course, tomorrow here, over 160,000, another sellout at Bristol Motor Speedway for the NASCAR Sprint Cup event.
These guys here are going to try to put this tarp over their pit stall to try to keep as much water off of it as possible. So if we go back racing under green, that they have a pit stall they, can get a little grip on. Both with the tires on the car and the shoes of these crews, they don't want to slip and fall on this because they'll go back racing when the track's dry. They don't really have to get that pit road completely dry to go back racing.
Yeah, the crew to making, or the key to making a good pit stop a lot of times is how quickly that driver can get the car in. That's as much as the crew doing their job, because we know they're going to do a good job, and obviously you want to keep that, as you said, Andy, for those guys' footing. But if the driver can go in there and he knows from before how far he could take that car in there and slide the car, then that helps contribute to a really good pit stop.
The 99 car, David Rudeman, being shown in third position, and he was awfully racy prior to the red flag coming out. Vince Welch has caught up with his crew chief, Jerry Baxter.
That's right, and while you take a look at the cars down on the track as they're starting to cover them up again, Jerry Baxter and many of the other crew chiefs are keeping an eye on, in this situation, a computer that has the weather forecast, or the actual the weather movement of the front. What's your thoughts, Jerry? Because I know that you're having a lot of conversation with David in regards to what your strategy might be here.
Yeah, my car's pretty good right now, Aaron's car, but we still have about 65 laps left in fuel, and I kind of made my bed by not coming in on that last round, and I'm going to wait it out. I'm pretty sure by looking at the weather, it's getting ready to come down hard. So I hope I'm making the right decision.
David's been talking about the track being, or the car being tight, but the track temperature feels like, or the ambient temperature feels like maybe it's dropped about 10 degrees here in the last 15 minutes. How do you anticipate that might affect the track if we do go racing?
Well, the last change we made, we got the car a lot better than it was. He was pretty tight to start the race, so he said I fixed about half of it. So with it cooling down, it's going to get a lot more grip. So we'll just play it by ear, and just by my guess, I don't think we'll be coming again. I think it's going to be bad weather coming. So.
Well, guys, indeed, if they did happen to be running again, that 99 sure was coming at the end of that long stint before the yellow and eventually the red fell because of the rain. Doc?
Indeed he was, Vince. And, of course, that 99 car is the one that finished third here. Same car, same driver, same team that had a shot in the final laps here back last August in the NASCAR Nationwide Series event. Well, Casey Kane, you heard what he said on the radio. He was digging as hard as he could, and our Mike Massaro is now caught up with.
He's not really digging right now, Doc. He's sitting idle in this race car. What are your thoughts right now? You've got a car that's capable of getting victory lane, but you may not be given the opportunity.
Yeah, I should already be in the lead. I pretty much blew that. So I just should have pressed the issue a little more, I think, and got by him. I had the best car, and it's disappointing I'm in second, and now we're getting out because it's raining again. So I don't know. I should be leading. He shouldn't be leading right now. I just let him have it.
There you go. You can hear the frustration in Casey Kane's voice, Doc. Obviously, he feels like there might be something on the table right now, and he may have left it there.
Mike, okay, let me ask our experts up here. You saw what he was trying to do inside of Clint Boyer. He said he should have pressed the issue a little more. What could he have done?
Well, I mean, he could have run into him, and that would have been pressing the issue. You know, Clint was protecting his position on the racetrack. Casey was doing everything, trying the inside and the outside, and it seemed that every time he tried to get to the gas a little bit quicker, that he couldn't make his car stick wherever it was on the outside or down the inside. And he was going to have to run into Clint. They were going to have some contact for him to make that move. Drivers can be really hard on themselves when you look back and think, man, I had that split second that I could have done this, but it's happening so quickly. Again, we're making laps around here at 16 seconds. You have just that split second to make that decision. So he does it. He's going to beat himself up, but he really shouldn't because he did a great job.
The problem is he didn't know when the end of the race was coming. He thought he was going to have a few more laps, and now he's got regrets because he didn't make his move soon enough.
Some of the drivers staying in the cars. Carl Edwards has climbed out over now talking to Greg Biffle in the 16 car, as we are still under a rain delay here at Bristol. Tonight on ABC, get caught up with Sunday's newest hit. Here come the Newlyweds with back-to-back episodes starting at 8 o'clock Eastern Time. And then at 10 Eastern, a look back at all your favorite bachelors in a Bachelor special. Where are they now? Newlyweds and Bachelors all night long tonight on ABC. Some of the drivers, there's Clint Boyer, our leader. He has climbed out of the car, walking back toward his hauler. And why don't we visit with Mike Bliss, who's standing by with Shannon.
That's right. Mike Bliss told me last week that you thought that this was one race that you could definitely win. You're hoping that this race starts again, huh, Mike?
Sure am. Our Supercuts Dodge is fast. It's really getting through the corners. I kind of had I spun out there, got a little help, and coming up through the traffic is just really, really good. And I just want to thank Supercuts for coming aboard this race and Mike Agee for some great motors. I want to get going. I want to get going bad.
This year has definitely been a turnaround for this team, for this program. How does it feel to be back up in the top 10 in points, being competitive every week?
It's just a real treat to work with these guys. I love these guys. Paul Wolf, all the guys back at the shop, we all just get along. We like each other, and it's hard to find somebody. Maybe they don't like me, but I like them. Our pit stops are great. Everything is just clicking, and we're having a good time at what we do, and that's the whole key.
All right, Mike Bliss currently running 5th, hoping to get this race started again. Dave.
Thank you.
Jason Leffler listed in the 6th position, just behind him. And the last word I had written down here on your day was better, and then, I'm sorry, the second to last word, and then tighter. So where's the car right now? Because I knew you were improving on it.
Yeah, it's just tight. As the sun goes down, the later it gets, tighter it gets. So we just got to do a better job keeping up with the track. And Great Clips, Camry's decent. We're one adjustment away from being really good. So hopefully we'll get back racing here and get a few more spots.
I was going to say, are we going to get a chance to make that adjustment, do you think?
I hope so. I'm going to be optimistic about it. And we have lights here. We can be here all night. So I'm ready to race.
There you go. Okay, chalk one up for the optimism side. That's Jason Leffler. Doc?
Jason Leffler, one of the drivers running only in the NASCAR Nationwide Series. There were 12 drivers who will run today and tomorrow here. And there's a look at where they are in the points positions after 4 races. You see Mike Bliss at 8th in the points. Mike Wallace, Kelly Byers. There's Brad Keselowski 11th and Leffler 12th. Bobby Hamilton Jr. back in 13th. So a good run for the NASCAR Nationwide only drivers. There's Mike Wallace, who was the younger brother of Rusty, as he's had a good run thus far today and staying in the top 15. How about last year's champion, Carl Edwards? It's been an eventful day for Carl. Let's go down and hear from him.
Yeah, and that event continues. I guess it's lunchtime. Carl Edwards looking for food inside one of the Rouse transporters. How's the car been? There was a report early in the race that you were just really unhappy with it.
Yeah, early in the race I was, but it came around pretty well. I'm looking for something to fatten old David Reagan up here. Got to slow him down. It's pretty fast. But it's actually pretty good now. We just didn't get tires that one run, so we're just holding people off, hoping that we get a caution. But I was really hoping we'd be running right now and passing those guys back.
You guys were laughing and joking on the way here. What were you guys talking about?
Well, Carl, he stayed out on tires, and Greg, they did an awesome job trying to hang on. And I was trying my hardest to pass him and not wreck him at the same time. I can't be wrecking any teammates out here. But our discount tire Ford's pretty good. It's a little on the tight side. Our pit crew's been doing a great job today. So I think if we do go back racing, certainly Carl and Greg and those guys who just pitted are going to be in the driver's seat. But I think our car's good enough we can make up some ground.
And there's no question that these guys will both be factors if we go back to green, Doc. After all, Concrete Carl, king of the concrete in 2007, and while David Reagan's been running the top 10 all afternoon.
Couple of teammates for Roush Fenway. How about some family ties here at Bristol Motor Speedway? Look at the history. Rusty Wallace, a 9-time winner here. You see Mike, who's having a good run today. Kenny, a former winner here. And, of course, second generation Steve Wallace, former pole sitter a year ago, also now being shown in the top 16 today. What about Mike Wallace, the middle of the 3 Wallace brothers? Well, he's having a good year. He's also a very experienced driver and loves what he does on and off the track.
I'm Mike Wallace. I have just one airplane. I have a Beechcraft Baron T8. 7 whiskey. Same number as my Nationwide car. You have to understand we run that 2 series. Can't quad jets yet. Last year we went through and redid it in motors and a new interior. Yes, we have a nice leather rayon gray interior. I have a gentleman by the name of Jerry Goad around. The legendary pilot of all pilots. Really early on in my career, myself and flew through the top of a tree. So I was like that far from killing myself. I'm Mike Wallace.
And I'm with Mike Wallace and Kenny Wallace. Kenny, this is a short answer.
Right.
Which did you like better, the airplane tour or the fist pump at the end from Mike?
I thought the airplane tour, I'm pretty impressed because to even own an airplane and running the NASCAR Nationwide Series, I don't know where he's getting all that money.
Okay, hold on that. We won't ask you where you're getting all the money, but I know you're driving hard out there. I looked up top 10 most of the day, Mike, having a good run so far.
Top 10 doing very well. Real happy with the way things are. We're just a little tight, you know, the way the cycled out. We were 12th when the caution come out. But, hey, I need to take 1 second and congratulate Dale Jarrett on the phenomenal career he's had. He is a classy professional champion, and Dale, way to go. We know we're going to start his last race tomorrow, and he's a class guy.
Mike, before we leave you and head over to Kenny here, I want you to talk a little bit about Chrissy, who's getting to race that truck. And there you go, pushed him right out. That's what you got to do with Herm right here.
Well, see, Herman is a phenomenal rain filler. Anytime they need to fill anything for rain, because he just goes and goes and goes. But in regards to Chrissy, thank you. I mean, she was at Martinsville Wednesday and Thursday of this week and tested a Germain Toyota up there, and they were impressed enough with her performance there that they are going to field her in the truck race or take her back to Martinsville in 2 weeks and have her attempt to qualify for it. Take her to Caraway one day next week and just let her run all day to keep her in the seats. So really proud of her, and thank Bob Germain, Mike Hillman, and all those guys for giving her the opportunity.
Now that's fun stuff, Mike. And real quick, Kenny, I understand this car that you're racing today has a very unique story to it.
Yeah, I want to thank my brother Rusty Wallace. Everybody knows that this second Armando Fitz team was, wasn't even in existence 2 weeks before Daytona. My brother Rusty was awesome. He said, Herm, I got this old show car we're getting ready to put in the atrium here at Atris, his sponsor. And it was just an old show car, and I said, well, I need some cars. So he gave me this car. This is a car that they won their very first race with. It's like a 4 or 5 year old car. We've been running in the top 13 all day long, so we're sitting here running 11th, and I want to thank my brother Rusty for giving me this car, and it's a really good car.
All right, Mike running 10th, Kenny running 11th, and I believe Rusty's in the pit studio, right, Alan?
I had a lie. I was going to say Rusty's running his mouth, but I didn't want to say that because that's what we get paid to do, right?
I've been being quiet all day long. I've been trying to say all the right stuff, you know?
I'm sorry, man. You're doing a great job. I couldn't resist.
Hey, Mike was talking about wrecking that airplane almost. I mean, I'll never forget, guys. He was flying along in a Cessna, got so low, he tried to get underneath the weather and hit the top of a tree.
Oh, man.
Wow.
He landed. And he pulled that baby in and had a big tree stump in the cowl of the airplane. How he got that thing back, I have no idea. I am so glad that he went and got him a pilot. Yeah. He's a good little pilot, but that day wasn't too good.
All right, let's talk about some racing here. Here's the situation that we're in. It's not pouring, but it's not dry. And it's not dry enough to race. There are lights at this racetrack, so NASCAR is going to sit here for a little bit, we believe, and hold on to things and see if, for the fans that paid their good money to see 300 laps of racing today, they can get them the rest of this thing in. But for now, we're kind of in a holding pattern here, and that's got to be the most frustrating thing for drivers, teams. Imagine those crew chiefs who made those strategy calls there a second ago. They got to sit on this for a while.
Absolutely. You sit there, and unfortunately, with all this time, all you do is the thing that you don't want to be doing, is you're sitting there thinking about what you're going to do, what's going to happen. Half the field's hoping it continues to rain so they can finish in their positions, and the other half want to go racing. So it's a tough predicament to be in.
I got to remember one thing. They have lights here. And usually when you run the August race, the night race, it doesn't end till like midnight. Everybody's used to that, Alan. So if they want to, and if this weather stays north of us, it's really skimming along the top of us right now, we might be able to get this thing in because of the lights.
That'd be great. Man, I want to see them go back racing.
All right, let me tell you what's going to happen here. For those of you who want to continue to follow the race, because we are well past our scheduled off time already here on ABC, and we have no real certainty at all of when this race will continue, if it will. We're going to go off the air here on ABC in about 2 minutes, and want you to tune in to ESPN Classic. We will stay on ESPN Classic through the rain delay to whatever the conclusion of this race is this evening, either a cancellation due to rain or the resumption of the action. But again, we're well past our scheduled off time here on ABC, and so we're going to move without any certainty of when this race will resume over to ESPN Classic and continue our coverage from here in Bristol. A little bit of housekeeping before we do leave the air here. Don't forget the NBA doubleheader on ABC tomorrow, 1 Eastern time, New Orleans and Detroit. Be an exciting one there. Then at 3:30 Eastern, the Houston Rockets look to extend that incredible winning streak they're on against the very tough Los Angeles Lakers and Kobe Bryant, starting at 12:30 Eastern on ABC with the GMC NBA Countdown. That is tomorrow. So under the red flag, with 171 of 300 laps complete, here is the way the field stands at the moment. If the race does not resume, Clint Boyer is going to get a win.
Well, right now it's the right move for Clint Boyer to stay out, and if he does pit and we go back green, I believe he can still get that thing back to the front with 4 fresh tires.
Boy, I'll tell you what, I'd love to see him go green. I want to see what Kevin Harvick does. I think he is actually coming at the end of this race.
So again, a reminder, there is no official resolution to the race at this point. We're past our scheduled off time. We're going off the air on ABC now. We'll be on ESPN Classic in just a moment. We'll stay here at Bristol and we'll bring you everything that's going to happen, be it a calling of the race by rain or a continuation of the race until lap 300. That's over on ESPN Classic just a moment from now. Can't thank enough our hardworking ESPN NASCAR crew for all their diligence and effort in the rain. Clint Boyer hoping this thing ends now, but it's not over yet. We'll see you on ESPN Classic in just a moment. Thanks for watching ESPN on ABC.
Bristol's a lot different than most of your other racetracks.
When I come to Bristol, I think of just a sleepy little town that's just exploded with people.
It's short track racing at its best.
Short track racing!
The fans come with a different attitude. The drivers come with a different attitude.
Bristol, Tennessee!
You can't get a grasp of how many people are there until you see it full.
Survival is kind of the name of the game at Bristol.
And our coverage of the NASCAR Nationwide Series continues from Bristol. What a day it's been. Heavy rain started at 1:10 Eastern Time and delayed the start of the race by some 2 hours, but we went green finally at 4:33 Eastern Time. The action got crazy quick.
Bobby Labonte got loose coming off of turn 4 and just spun it and wiped out his total day. The car's killed.
And kept getting crazy quickly.
I'll tell you what, Martin Truex had a fast hot rod, lost control right there, got a little bump in the back. Then he took Kyle Busch with him, who also was flying.
A couple of drivers who could have contended for the win today done just 14 laps into the race. Another favorite to win, Denny Hamlin, driving that Joe Gibbs Racing 20 that's been so strong today. Flat tire. Came down pit road, lost a couple laps, then had a missing lug nut, came back in again. He's been way behind all day. Guy who's been up front, Kevin Harvick, but troubles here on a pit stop.
Oh, yeah, he left the left front lug nut off and had to come back in. You see him putting the left front on. Lug nut's not on. The guy's chasing him. Oh, misses it. Got to come back in, start in the back of the pack.
Dropped Harvick back to 22nd at the time. He's trying to make his way through. Mike Bliss, whoops.
Yeah, Mike got a little help there from Martin Ambrose. He got away from him. He got behind on his steering, and no harm, no foul. Nobody got tore up too bad, and Mike's actually marched his way back.
I love that saying, got behind on his steering. Rain was closing in as the race closed in on halfway. Clint Boyer in the 2 leading, Casey Kane in the 9 chasing, racing the clouds, racing the weather, racing to halfway, racing for what could be the win.
Oh, it really was. And Casey Kane, he could have pushed the issue, moved that Boyer out of the way a little bit, didn't do it, stayed patient, and now he's running second. He's hating himself for doing that.
At lap 171, the red flag dropped for rain. The track dried quickly. The cars were fired up, but before they even put them back on the track to try and restart the race, they shut them down and covered them back up again, and the rain began falling. And this is a live look now at the scene here at Bristol Motor Speedway. The cars covered on pit road. Clint Boyer doing a little rain dance, or at least certainly hoping it continues to rain, because as the race is past its official halfway point, and Clint Boyer's the leader, if for some reason NASCAR can't resume the event, it becomes an official race, and Clint Boyer will get the victory at Bristol today. The question becomes, are we going to race again, or are we not? And I don't know if we know the answer to that.
I tell you, hope we do, but Clint Boyer hopes we don't, because right now he's leading the race, but he's on old tires. And guys, if he has to go back, he's got to pit, go to the back, and the guys, I believe it's 10th on back, have already put 4 tires on, so they're going to be sitting in the catbird seat.
Yeah, you got guys like Carl Edwards and Greg Biffle sitting back there. They're just waiting. If this race restarts, they're going to be back in the, like Rusty said, in the catbird seat. So it's going to be interesting. We have to get this race in. Go.
Just quick recap on that strategy. When the caution came out for the rain, the top 9 in the race, plus a couple of others, stayed on the racetrack. So 11 cars did not pit. First guy with tires off the pit stops is Scott Wimmer. He'll restart in 12th. And if we do restart, then those 11 guys in front of him are going to have to come in and pit and take tires. They'll be out behind the guys that did pit, and the whole thing gets turned upside down, all pending the weather. Right now, under the red flag, Brad Keselowski sits in 4th position. The young driver from Michigan going to get a top 5 out of this thing and up his career best again if we don't go back racing. Who knows? If we go back racing, he could end up with the top 5 too. He is standing by with our Vince Welch.
And he was talking with Dale Jr. on the radio just before that yellow and then eventually the red. Jr. was encouraging him about your lap times, that your times were faster than those in front of you. So how would you feel about this 4th place finish, which would be a career best, although certainly your car seemed to be coming there toward the end?
Yeah, we just didn't need this caution at all, but Mother Nature kind of got us. But I feel like we had a car to go up there and run with Clint and Casey and maybe get by them. We were gaining on them real fast. Real proud of everyone in the shop for giving me a car this fast. What a great car. I think the 22 car might be just a little bit faster than us, but other than that, I feel like we can take the rest of them. So really excited about that. Really proud of everyone in the shop. This is Junior Motorsports bodied car, so appreciate all the hard work that went into it, and it's certainly paying off today.
What's it like to be a 24-year-old driver getting to work with someone of the experience of Tony Eury Sr. and the ownership of Dale Earnhardt Jr.?
It's a dream come true. Then we also got Mr. Hendrick helping me out, which is huge. Obviously their reputation for putting out the best race cars is, one that can't be challenged by anyone else. So really excited about everything that's going on over here at Junior Motorsports, and I feel like we're going to be a strong team for the rest of the year, and maybe we can go down there and run it down for the championship towards the end of the year. I feel like we have the cars to do it.
And also the honor of running with the colors of the U.S. Navy. Alan?
I'm just sitting here thinking about Brad Keselowski. Next weekend, this series moves to Nashville. The Nationwide Series is the feature race of the weekend on Easter, and they'll be at Nashville on Saturday afternoon. And Brad Keselowski, without as many Cup guys there, could be one of these Nationwide guys that runs away with the show. But he's driving some kind of subpar equipment last year before he got noticed by Dale Earnhardt Jr., and since they teamed up, it's been good.
He's been very tough, and you're exactly right. Brad Keselowski, Bobby Hamilton Jr., this is his home track. You got some young guys, Kelly Byers, who could really have great runs, maybe even win these races.
Talking about Nashville, don't forget our coverage next Saturday from Music City, and the Nashville Superspeedway starts at 2 p.m. Eastern Time on ESPN. Our coverage presented by Tractor Supply Company. Opportunities next week.
Absolutely. Opportunity race. We're going to talk about it a lot. I mean, these guys want to go out there because a lot of the Cup guys won't be there. It's a chance for these guys to get up there and get them a victory.
Guy who might be one of those opportunity drivers in Nashville next week is with Mike Massaro now.
And right now, unfortunately for Marcus, Alan, not really taking advantage of the opportunity here in Bristol. Got involved in a little altercation early on with the 22. What happened?
Well, it's one of the restarts, and he got wiggly, checked up, and I just ran straight in the back of him. And it's unfortunate for Mike. He was already spinning out, and I just helped him on his way. But we got a little bit of damage. We had to pit for that, and we lost a lap in the pits because of that. We're fighting our way back. We really want this track to dry off. We think we got something for him. But it's been good anyway. I had something to eat and a drink and stretched my legs out. I'm ready to go again.
Looking ahead on the schedule, we look to Nashville next week. Now, that's a race where we don't expect too many of the Sprint Cup regulars to be there. How much does that open opportunity to a guy like yourself?
Well, it really shouldn't make any difference. If you're good enough, you should win whoever's there. But in reality, it's going to be nice to have a race with only a few Cup guys. And we expect a really strong run there, but we've got to finish our job here at Bristol. We came here to race. We want to get this race in. We believe we've got something for them. We've got a top 10 car if we can get our lead lap back. And look out, here we come.
We will look out. Now we go to Dave Burns with another opportunity guy.
And that will be Bobby Hamilton Jr., who he got taller or something. Anyway, you're one of the guys who has pitted and are in a pretty good position if we'd ever get this restarted, right?
Yeah, well, we had no choice. That was the tightest set of tires that we had on the Curly's Ford Fusion, and we got real tight. So we was like, if we don't change them, we're going to go a lap down. If we do go back, if we do, then we're heroes. But we ain't going to beat this. I mean, it's coming down pretty good. And I guess we're going to take a 17th. And it's irritating because we're the top 10 car. But we got what we got. We can't beat Mother Nature above. So I think she's going to beat us today. We'll take a 17th and go to Nashville.
I was going to say, excited to go home next week. We just promoted the race. You get to go back to what is your home area on not your traditional home track, but another cement track where you ought to run pretty well.
Yeah, well, we're going to carry the same car, and we're looking forward to it. But, I'm telling you, with pit road stuff, if we could run a race without pit roads as far as me getting caught on with a caution or rain or whatever, we'd probably have a shot at winning one of these things. But we're looking forward to it, and it's close to home, bunch of family. You know how it goes.
Yep. All right. Hey, Vince, we'll work on that race without pit stops and see how that works out with NASCAR.
I don't think that's going to happen, but I'll tell you what, Greg Biffle's certainly hoping that we do get going again because he did just pit. What was your strategy and your thinking there with the crew chief in regards to making that stop?
Well, the tire wear's been an issue, and the tires here are definitely faster. And we had 200 laps to go and only 3 sets lay-in. So if we put one on, that's 70 laps per set. So, you know, I did the math, and I stayed out the 29, and the 60 stayed out. And, you know, we really needed this caution right here. Running 5th, we come in and got tires, and we sit 13th right now. We're in a great spot if it goes green. But it certainly doesn't look like it's going green, you know. And unfortunate for us, you know, it was a little bit of a gamble, but we really didn't play the weather. We played the racetrack and racing the race, and that's a lot of times what you have to do.
Well, not being a full-timer in this series, so to speak, you can make some gambles like that because your goal is to come and win every week and not really the big picture, right?
Yeah, it would have been a tough decision in the Sprint Cup race, but here in the nationwide race, you're right. You know, we came to win. I think we got a car we could win with. I was riding around just waiting for the laps to wind down and get up there and race with Clint and all those guys. But, you know, the City Financial Fusion car was really, really fast and just saving it for the end, but doesn't look like we're going to get there.
Yeah, thanks, Greg. Of course, racing in the wet today, but Greg Biffle likes to race in a little drier circumstance as well.
I am Greg Biffle. One of the ways I like to blow off steam when I'm not at the racetrack is going to the desert. I take my sand car and my four-wheelers and tear it up. I go once a year, usually take like 8 or 10 of my buddies. We have a lot of fun. Some of it's probably not rated for television. The car flies really well, so we like doing a lot of jumps. They're an extreme amount of fun in the desert.
Continues to rain here at Bristol Motor Speedway, but no official resolution to the race yet. We continue to wait for official word from NASCAR on exactly what's going to happen and continue to watch the skies and see if we might get a break and finish the final 129 laps of this thing. Clint Boyer still standing out there ready to do his victory speech. Not yet, Clint. Not yet. While we wait out the rain, Tim Brewer is stationed inside our ESPN Dish Tech Center, and we turn Tim loose with a camera crew every now and then. Tim, what do you got for us this time?
Thanks, Alan. One of the best things I do during the week, folks, I get to go to different race shops. What I get to do there is show the fans what's going on. And before Daytona, we selected the wind tunnel at Aerodyne in Mooresville, North Carolina. Hope you guys really enjoy it because we had a lot of fun putting that tape together. Today we're in Mooresville, North Carolina, here at the Aerodyne Wind Tunnel. From a crew chief standpoint, if I could trade shaker rigs, dynos, everything in a race shop, I would have one of these wind tunnels if you could afford it. It costs about $1,500 an hour to rent this thing, but the significance you're going to have at the wind tunnel, improved drag at Daytona and Talladega, so your cars are going to run faster. Everywhere else, it's going to attribute downforce to the cars, making the cars drive better on the racetrack, making the drivers perform well. When you've got a better driving race car, you're going to have better finishes, and that's when you're going to win races. Inside the wind tunnel, as you can see, the Ford Fusion, we're 100% blocked, meaning taped up solid. We're looking for a drag number here really low so we can qualify fast. We're going to have to take a little tape off the grill so we can have sufficient airflow to the radiator so the engine don't overheat on race day. Back in here, this is where the magic happens. These are sensors beneath the wheels. What they're doing is actually measuring weight that's put on the front of the car as well as the rear of the car. We collect all the data right here, and now we're going to go to the control room where we can actually show you where it's collected. Now we're here in the control room at the Aerodyne Wind Tunnel. As you can see, we've got the fans that we showed you earlier that draws the air across the actual race car. Right here, this is a controller. His name is Nick Woolley. He's compiling all the information, front downforce, rear downforce, drag numbers, putting them up on the screen. At the end of the wind tunnel test, he's going to give us a package that defines all the data. He'll give it to the team engineer that will present it to the crew chief, and when they go back home, they'll have a plan to how they're going to attack the Daytona 500.
And we thank Mr. Brewer for the tour, and as you might have guessed by the picture just as we went to that, the race has been called. Clint Boyer getting rushed by his team. Congratulations being given. NASCAR just pulled the plug, and Clint Boyer has been declared the winner of this race. His 6th nationwide victory in what is the first ever rain-shortened nationwide series race at this track. While they push the car to victory lane, Shannon is with the winner.
Well, there's relief, a smile on Clint Boyer's face. His first win here at Bristol under rain conditions. You said you always wanted to win here, Clint. How does this feel?
Oh, it feels awesome. I'll take it any way you can get it. You know, Casey Kane, you know, he raced me clean. He had the best car, and, you know, it's not always the best car wins, but, yeah, this is special. This is a racetrack that's always been special to me ever since I come here. It's hard to race on, and you know, you've earned it when you roll into victory lane. Dan and all the guys on the BB&T Chevrolet, Monte Carlo SS, they just do an awesome job. Really proud of all the guys and all of our sponsors, all of our partners.
Well, I know everyone was aware of the rain that was coming. When you were racing on that track as we were getting closer to the halfway point, how aware were you of where we were in the race?
Well, I knew, you know, we knew going into the race that it was going to happen. Everybody was worried that it wasn't even going to make halfway, so I was just trying to hold him off as hard as I could and race as hard as I could, but everything worked out.
All right, well, Clint Boyer, one of the drivers going for a nationwide series championship here this year. Great start for Clint Boyer. Doc?
Shannon, Clint's 6th career victory, and he becomes the 4th different winner here in 2008 in NASCAR's Nationwide Series. Before we bid farewell to those of you who hung with us today in the NASCAR Nationwide Series, we want to talk a little bit about what's going to happen tomorrow for Dale Jarrett. And Dale, an illustrious 23-year Cup career, your final points race. I know it's difficult. We talked a little bit in commercial, the emotions of what's going to happen tonight. How will you deal with tonight before tomorrow?
It's going to be a long night, I think. But again, I've been very fortunate to have a great career, make a lot of good friends. You know, I thanked a lot of people earlier as we were on the air. I forgot to thank my family, who's obviously the most important, from my mom and dad to my wife and kids for the sacrifices they've made. So it's going to be a very emotional day tomorrow, but thanks for the support that I've gotten from y'all.
Dale, you know, from my standpoint, you know, who knew years ago we built that car in that dirt floor garage, the things that you would achieve in your career. And I, for one, I'm just very proud to have just that small part of the beginning of your career, and really proud to see the things you've accomplished.
Andy, it wasn't a small part, it's a huge part. If I didn't get that opportunity from this guy right here, and Jimmy Newsom, if you're watching, thank you very much, and people like Jerry Punch and Horace Eisenhower, John Irvin, many others that gave me that opportunity. But thanks, man, I appreciate it.
And remarkably, we all went to the same little high school in Newton, North Carolina, and your original race shop was in the back of a florist. You had the best smelling crew in racing because you guys always worked on the car with all those fresh flowers all the way around you. But DJ, you have been a great ambassador for the sport of NASCAR racing, whether it's Nationwide Series or Cup, and certainly a great career, and we wish you the best of luck in that final ride here tomorrow.
Thanks a lot again, and I appreciate it. And once again to the fans, thanks for being fans of this wonderful sport. You're what makes it all possible.
Dale Jarrett will have his final ride in the 44 car, and folks, he still may yet drive that big brown truck. We're going to try to get him in that before the thing is over, but Alan, it has been a great day here for racing. Fans have hung with us, and Clint Boyer is the victor as his car now makes it to victory lane.
All right, Doc, thanks. And certainly we had our wishes for DJ to be safe and, most importantly, have fun tomorrow in that race here at Bristol. Well, let's take a look at the results for today's race here at Bristol. Clint Boyer gets the victory, his first Bristol win in his 7th start.
Boy, Devin, I'm looking at the top, that run down there. Brad Keselowski, 4th place, looking really good. And, you know, Casey almost had it, but rain got him.
Yeah, David Strimmy gets a good finish there. David Reagan, look at Jason Leffler. Harvick comes back from a missed lug nut in the first few laps of the race. So, and a great finish for Mike Wallace. All those guys in the top 10 did a great job.
A little bit farther down, remember Scott Wimmer, his crew came down pit road, took tires. They were in great shape if we went back racing, but we're not going back racing. Now, 12th place.
Well, you got to gamble. You got to take those chances, and you never know what's going to happen. It didn't work out today, but it may work out next time.
And Dario Frank, he got Bristolized today.
Yeah.
He got a little bump in the back and spun out, and that's what happens at this racetrack.
And farther down to some of the drivers who had troubles and fell out of the race early today here in Bristol. 3 leaders, 4 changes, 7 cautions for 38 laps, and again the race stopped after 171 of the scheduled 300 laps by rain. So the championship standings after 5 races, Kevin Harvick leads the points, but of course he's not going to go to the race next week in Nashville. Clint Boyer running for the championship will, in essence, assume that lead.
Well, this is a really important race. This is last of the top 5 races. They were going off of last year's points. Now you hit the big reset button, and next week at Nashville, Tennessee, it's the current point standings of 08, and that's big.
That determines determine the guaranteed starters in the race, the top 30 and now the current owner points.
Well, that is absolutely huge in both series, but in this series especially.
All right, Nashville next week. Thought?
Oh, man, I'm looking forward to getting to Nashville, especially we're not going to have as many Cup drivers there. So like we said earlier, it gives some young guy a great opportunity to step up and shine.
And another concrete racetrack. And I'll tell you what, these concrete racetracks, I think these guys like them.
Yep.
They might say they don't like them, but I really think they do. It's a really great shape racetrack. We should put on some good side-by-side racing next week.
Our coverage from Nashville Saturday at 2 p.m. Eastern on ESPN and ESPN HD. Our coverage presented by Tractor Supply Company. Hope you'll be with us for that. Coming up next, billiards trick shot magic. And stick around for that. I cannot thank enough our extremely talented and dedicated ESPN NASCAR crew for working as hard as they did through some very difficult conditions today. The lightning, the rain, goodness knows. And thank you all so much for doing what you do to show these NASCAR fans their racing action. Rain shortened today, but Clint Boyer gets the win. We'll talk to you next weekend from Nashville, and we'll see you on NASCAR Now tomorrow morning, 10 Eastern, ESPN2.